Some of you, how many of you have done cliff jumping or diving? Quite a few of you, okay? So, right here, this is at sea level. And say if you jump at, say if we're getting really crazy, and we jump at 20 feet above sea level. When you jump 20 feet, some people it might be scary, some people it won't, right? So if you jump 20 feet at sea level, what do you think, how far do you think that you would go, what would be the opposite of above sea level? Below. So how far do you think that you would go below sea level if you were to start at 20 feet above sea level? What do you think? Maybe some of you, if you've done it before, you might have an idea. What do you think? 10 feet? Is that what you said? 10 feet? Do you guys think about that? Those of you that have done it, probably about 10 feet. So maybe you'd come to about the halfway point, so about 10 feet below sea level. So if it's about 10 feet below sea level, why do you think that you don't come as far? It's 20 feet above. Why don't you come 20 feet below sea level? Ashlyn?
Because when you hit the water, it slows you down.
Exactly. When you hit the water, it slows you down. So you would be about 10 below sea level. So you can see we have different integers that we've talked about. So we have different positive and negative whole numbers that we have talked about with withdrawal and with deposit, and then with above and below. So an integer is both, it's a positive or a negative whole number, not a number that's a fraction. So, checking account, we have withdrawal and deposit, positive and negative numbers, and with sea level, we looked at positive and negative numbers, which are both integers. The positive and negative numbers are both integers. So, oh, I see some of you raising your hand. So what is an integer? Raise your hand if you heard what I just said an integer was. Look at the types of, don't say it out loud yet. Look at the types of numbers that we talked about. What is an integer? Katie. It's a whole number that can be what? So she got it. It's a whole number that can be, so she said above or below, which are what types of numbers? Devin.
Negative or positive.
Negative or positive. So an integer is a whole number that can be a negative or positive. Atlee.
I just forgot what I was
Forgot?
saying.
Okay, raise your hand if you remember and I'll come back to you. So if I were to have a number 1.5, is this an integer?
No.
Is 1.5 an integer? So thumbs up if you think 1.5 is an integer. Thumbs down if you think it is not an integer. Okay. Holly, why do you think thumbs down? Why do you think it is not an integer? It has to be a whole number. If it's 1.5, 1.5, is that a whole number? There's a whole number right here, a 1, but is the whole entire thing together a whole number?
Nope.
No. If I had negative 26, I want you to, if you think that it's this is an integer, put your hand on your head. If you think it is not an integer, put your hand on your shoulders. If you think it is an integer, put your hand on your head. If you think it is not an integer, on your shoulders. Okay. Let's see. Brennan, why do you think that this is an integer? Okay, great job. It's a negative number and it is also a whole number. So, we're going to talk about opposites. Opposites, so we've talked about above, below, positive, and negative. Yes?
Is 0 positive or negative?
Good job. 0, yes. 0 is, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow, but 0, it's a whole number and it's not a fraction, right? So it is an integer and it's called the origin. So tomorrow we're going to talk more about the origin, and a way to remember that is, what does the letter origin, or what does the word origin start with? Oh, doesn't it look like a 0? Yes. So 0 is the origin. Yes. Integer? Yeah, so go ahead and write down the word integer.
Oh, yeah.
So write down the word integer so you can remember that. Will you pause it for a second?